I can remember my granddad. It was actually my dad telling the tale, but the tale had come from my granddad, so we'll not complicate it. Because I were alive when, I weren't that old actually when my dad. So shall I start with my granddad, my dad's dad? No? Granddad? Don't matter, does it? I can remember my granddad telling the tale that it would be his mother's brother, that's it, having an appendix operation on a kitchen table. And they must have had to pay for it. There were no NHS then. And there'd be no proper... They'd have ether, I suppose, wouldn't they? They'd lay him out. Anyway, basically, he survived it. And there'd be no antibiotics. But I mean, in some cases, if they hadn't been able to afford a doctor to do it, he would have died, wouldn't he? But apparently he survived. Well, whether he lived to old age, I don't know. But I can remember my granddad on about that. And he'd only be a lad. I mean, that would be going back to probably 70s, 80s, when that happened. A bit later happened. That's a little story that'll be lost forever one day. And mucky won't spread it. But it can be a bit messy going to it. But it's a dry field. And I've been farming that for 1,000 years, that field, and longer. This here, what we're on now, that'll have been farmed for 1,000 years at least. Stone Age man were up here, because we've found flints. So they would have been primitive farming it, probably 2000 BC. And then you have to ask yourself, well, what were they doing up here on poor land 1,000 feet above sea level? But I suppose the reason, it was clearer ground, it was easier probably to clear, and the climate was probably a lot kinder. And they used to farm woods for timber and fuel, building materials, charcoal for smelting lead. They've been smelting lead up round here since God were a little lad. We've always farmed it and played when we were kids. And there'll be other people that I grew up with, kids can remember, and they'll very often say, can they remember when we used to do so and so? And we'd like be kids and helping older generations do jobs. An helper that used to help on farm, he was stooking corn up across here. And it's for area, it's a biggish field. And he says, I'm bloody fed up with this, it's like a bloody prairie. Meaning, there are a lot of sheaves in a big area. Anyway, we still call it prairie. Hey, he's still alive, I still see him actually. So just little jokes like that get, field names sometimes. Some old weather sayings, there's truth in them. February, Candlemas Day, fair and bright. Winter will have another fight. This ain't the Feb goes back to Neolithic times, probably happened earlier. It's a pagan thing. Full moon after Candlemas Day, which is another pagan thing really. Easter's pagan. Easter weekend will always be a full moon. That's when the old Neolithic people used to try and sow the spring seed. Fogs in March as frosts in May. There could be truth in that. Shade in March, shelter in June. That's fairly good. Means basically summer's no good coming too early. Cold, dry March never begs its keep, which probably means cold and wintry, a better chance of a better summer. March comes in like a lion, goes out like a lamb, or reverse vice. Probably truth in it. Maybe if they want a logical thing, it may be something to do with moon changes. A lot of the old weather law went by moon changes. Cold wet May, barn full of hay. What it means basically is, if you get a cold wet May, you have more chance of a better summer, I think. Good summers never start early. Lovely smell, lovely scent, hawthorn blossom. If they could bottle it, they make a fortune, wouldn't you? They call it storm blossom sometimes, because at some stage when the white hawthorn blossom is out, it will be unsettled. Hence they call it storm blossom. Old timer told me that years ago. I never noticed it, but if you watch it, you were right. More often than not, you'll get an unsettled period. I can only happen to remember one summer that we didn't have bad weather while storm blossom were out. And that was a fair while ago. So there's truth in that. Now what the coincidence is, I have no idea. But you know what you say if it's a bit if it's a bit unsettling. If there's enough blue sky to make a cow an apron, it will probably keep fine. But it don't exclude a bit of drizzle and a bit hindrance, but it'll not rain heavy. A chap who used to work with me years ago told me that. But he's not with me now, he's a good old friend he were. I often go and have a word with him at church. Good old friend. Can you imagine digging moor and heather and rushes, foot deep, foot thick in like mat? And they used to dig them with us when they reclaimed it. They used to dig it with a special spade and turn it over and bury whatever they were burying, the mat, the heather, or the rushes. They used to spend days, but that was the only way of breaking the sod and starting to cultivate the land. I mean, you know what old saying is about this moor over here, or land near old moor, you know, if you scratch its back it'll break your arm. That means you'll never make anything of it, you know, because it's basically moor and grassland. But you know, years ago when better climate and harder times, that's what they did. Because they drained a lot of the land with pot pipes, they could mass produce them. They were done with hand as well. They were good lads, you know. Can you imagine digging 2 foot 6 deep every 7 yard across a 10 acre field? Bloody good lads. Every field you can see around here has been cut with a scythe, no matter how big or how small. There were no machinery, the only thing to cut a crop with them was a scythe. Man and a scythe, you were all handwork and hard work. A good horseman could plough 'em and sow 'em, harrow the seed in without the horse walking on it. So the ground never got mauled, so it were always very quite free draining. You know, the land's been ploughed for more years with ox than it has with horses or machine or tractors. My great-granddad, my dad's granddad, he started off fairly well off, and he made a good job of getting rid of a lot, because he owned his own spot and some more when, you know, 90% of farms in country were rented. They say he used to carry a pistol, even 2 pistols, and he used to go on train to collect rents from his 2 other little farms. Anyway, I think he got rid of bloody farms and pistols. By the time he'd done, he got rid of guns and farms as well, and ended up with nothing really. I've sometimes wondered would I have been better, you know, living in years ago, but it was hard work, weren't it? And there were changes then, you know. Just think somebody who'd never seen a railway coming through open country. I mean, that'd be as big a shock. And canals been built, and railways and industrials and pits, as probably it is today. Time moves on, I suppose. Even where we sat now has probably been a lake, it's probably been a lush, dense forest full of life, and it's all underneath us now. There might be something buried that nobody will ever find and we'll never find, and perhaps it's a good idea if nobody ever finds. Best to leave them peaceful, I think. I shall miss it when I'm gone. When I get too old to do it. Miss it a lot.